I just want to invite us to just take a moment and know that every prayer that has been typed into the comments, every prayer that has not been typed into the comments, is already met in the oneness, in the perfection that I call God. Whatever you name this holy blessed one, know with me that everyone in our community, everyone on this feed right now, and beyond, are held in that oneness absolutely, perfectly, and beautifully. So let's just take that deep breath together, holding all those prayers in our heart space, knowing that all is well. You know, and in that oneness, in that heart space, in that place where we are inherently connected, where there is no separation, we can sense into, feel into our belonging to that oneness. And I want to share some thoughts from Thich Nhat Hanh, Buddhist teacher. He says, look at the tree. It is a wonderful thing, a tree. A tree is very beautiful. A tree to me is as beautiful as a cathedral, even more beautiful. I looked into the tree and I saw the whole cosmos in it. Goes on to say, I saw the sunshine in the tree. Can you see the sunshine in the tree? Yes, because without the sunshine, no tree can grow. I see a cloud in the tree. Can you see? Without a cloud, there can be no rain and no tree. I see the earth in the tree. I see everything in the tree. So the tree is where everything in the cosmos comes into, and to me, the cosmos reveals itself as the tree. Therefore, a tree to me is a cathedral, and I can take refuge in the tree, and I can get nourished by the tree. I can get in touch with the tree only if I go back to the present moment, because the tree can only be found in the present moment. And so just take a moment with me as we consider this idea of oneness, as we celebrate this idea of oneness, and as Thich Nhat Hanh so beautifully shared with us, that the entire cosmos is in a tree. That everything that came together to bring that tree into being, and everything that that tree supports in its beingness, is this inherent interconnectedness, this inherent interdependence. And just like that tree is this beautiful player in the whole of life itself, so are you and I. And when we begin to ponder our connectedness, as we begin to ponder the idea that there is no separation, this is one of the ways that we can begin to not just have this theory, but begin to bring our attention and our conscious knowing to this truth, to this greater reality. But we must bring it out of the ethers. We must bring it out of thought only and into an embodied experience. So I want to invite you for a moment, as Thich Nhat Hanh also beautifully shared with us, is that the only way to begin to see the tree is to see the tree in this present moment. It's the only time we can find oneness and experience oneness is in this present moment. So I invite you, wherever you are watching from, with whoever you are watching from, to bring your attention into this present moment. And I want you to just look at the screen and recognize that you and I are the tree. You and I are the entirety of the cosmos bringing itself forward right now in this moment. That I am because you are. I am here in this moment speaking to you on this screen because you are. Because we are. And everything that has allowed this moment to unfold, our devices, our internet connection, the AV team, everything is a part of this unfolding as the one right now in this moment. So take your next breath and let's just gaze at one another, recognizing our inherent connection right now. That there is no space between us. There is no distance between us. There's no time between us, whether you are watching on the West Coast or the East Coast, or even further. That as we bring our attention right here into this moment, you and I are inherently connected. I am because you are. This idea of the cosmos, the entirety of the cosmos showing up in one being, in one moment, in one piece of life. It's a giant idea. And yet it is the reality that you and I are sharing together. And when we bring our attention, our awareness to the present moment, to the oneness that we are experiencing right now, we get a little closer to that truth. We get a little closer to this greater reality that there is no separation and that my aliveness is entirely wrapped up in your aliveness. And when we allow ourselves to move into that truth, when we allow ourselves to make that real, not just in our heads, but in our experience, I believe it then moves us into more loving action. When that reality becomes our lived experience, when I recognize that my aliveness is entirely wrapped up with your aliveness, some of the choices I make as a result of that understanding, as a result of that embodied experience, I make choices that care for that. Simple choice, like we decided to do our service online today. We decided to gather virtually because we recognize our inherent connectedness and we're going to care for that and take precaution to keep one another safe. That's a beautiful example of Ubuntu. The Zulu translation of that actually means humanity. That my humanity and your humanity are one humanity. And when I allow that to be real, I care for them. That my well-being is your well-being, and your well-being is mine. And I think it's important that we understand that in the greatest way that we can. Because then our choices come from that truth, rather than thinking, oh, I'm going to be loving, I'm going to be caring, I'm going to do the right thing. But how do you know what the right thing is if you are not connected in this oneness, consciously connected, aware of our inherent relationship and belonging to one another? If it's just an idea and you're going to figure out how to care, you're going to figure out how to be loving, you may be creating a bit of a mess. You may even be creating harm unintentionally. But when we breathe into and get entirely present to our oneness, when we begin to embody this greater reality that I am because you are, and you are because I am, and I am because we are, because God is. And we allow that truth to move us into action. There is where love in action can actually happen. We don't have to figure out right action. We don't have to figure out how to be caring and how to be loving. We are moved by this greater reality, by this greater truth, by this cosmos that connects us, by a loving impulse that rises from that in us. Not necessarily from anything that's happening in our thoughts, because we are figuring out what's happening out here, but because we are moved by the impulse of love itself. One of my favorite quotes from Ernest Holmes, the founder of our teaching, is love points the way, law makes the way happen. Love points us in right action, but we have to be present to that love. We have to be conscious and aware of love pointing us, of the impulse of love rising in us. Thich Nhat Hanh, when he was speaking of this beautiful cosmic oneness, also went on to say, anything you do for yourself, you do for the world. Don't think that you and the world are two separate things. When you breathe in mindfully and gently, when you feel the wonder of being alive, remember that you're also doing this for the world. Practicing with that kind of insight, you will succeed in helping the world. You don't have to wait until tomorrow. You can do it now, today. You don't have to wait and figure out how to help the world. But when you bring your mindfulness, your consciousness, your awareness to the present moment, when you deepen your commitment to practice this attention within, this attention to that impulse of love that is always present. When we bring that attention from within to this present moment, we begin to love the world. We begin to move in right action. We begin to seek connection where maybe before we were up in our head, or maybe we were in our feelings about somebody else's choices, believing that they are separate from us because of what they are doing or saying or not doing or not saying. But when we can bring our full attention to this present moment, knowing that there is always love, because it is who and what we are. There is always belonging, because we belong to the one. We belong to oneness. And when we connect ourselves to that and bring that attention to the present moment, whatever is unfolding in the present moment, we understand that it too belongs to the one. That they too belong in this oneness and are a part of the Ubuntu, the humanity. Humanity being a description of all of life itself, every creature, every being that makes up this life. And if I belong to it and you belong to it, then we are connected in it right now. And so is the person who's not vaccinated. And so is the person who voted for the one you did not. And so is the refugee in a war-torn country. There is no space between us. There is no time between us. There is one life. And when we choose to bring our attention to that oneness, we begin to participate in that oneness as the love that we are, as the love that is rising in our being moves us into action. You know, I find myself often saying to folks who want to be an ally to me, who want to be a support to me, that before you take any action that you believe is supportive to me, please get yourself centered in the one. Please do not be a stand for me if you are not a stand in your own being for love. Because often then you make a mess that I have to clean up. And when I think I am doing the right thing for you, but I haven't taken the time to first get aligned and connected to the one, to the love that is rising in me, I may go ahead and make a mess for you. And doing so with all the good intentions. Desmond Tutu defines Ubuntu as I am because you are. My success and failures are bound in yours. We are made for each other, part of one family, human family. That my success and failures are bound to yours. And when I think about what that really means, it becomes even more maybe urgent to me, maybe more profound to me, that you get connected to the love that you are. Because my success, my ability to be in this life with freedom, with liberation, is bound to your understanding the truth of who you are. And yours is bound to mine. I heard recently someone call the golden rule, do unto others as you would have them do unto you. And it's in every faith tradition across the globe. They refer to the platinum rule instead. And I love this because the platinum rule says, treat others as you deserve to be treated. Because sometimes we don't treat ourselves all that well. I don't necessarily want you to treat me the way you are treating yourself. especially when you are out of alignment and have a misunderstanding about who and what you are as a divine emanation of the One. So the platinum rule says, treat me as you deserve to be treated. Which means let's take a moment together and sit in the idea that, oh my God, if I am a divine emanation of the One, and you are a divine emanation of the One, and we are the very life of God itself, how does God deserve to be treated? Take a moment right now. Connect to that truth in your being. Breathe into the truth that God is all there is. And the life of God is living itself through and as me. And how does that divine emanation of the One deserve to be treated? That belonging that we often seek out here, right? We often seek belonging in relationship, in romantic relationship. We seek belonging in our family. We seek belonging in faith communities. We seek belonging in these groups and relationships and communities out here, often as a way to feel seen and valued. But what if we first sought belonging here? What I know to be true is when I am deeply connected to the belonging I have to life itself, to God, I can belong anywhere. There is no place where God is missing. God is present in all the places, in all the communities, in all the relationships, in all the families, in all the politics. God is present in the Democrats and the Republicans and the Libertarians. God is present even in war-torn countries. So when I first find my belonging here, as an expression of the divine, there is nothing out here that can tell me who I am. There's nothing in the outer world, in the outer circumstances, that can tell you you are valuable, that you are important, that you are loved, because you already know it in your belonging to the One. Which means you can take that belonging out into the world. You can take the love that you are into your relationships. You can let that guide you in those hairy moments, in those moments where you may not have understanding in your mind. But you know, because you belong to the One, that you can find it, even when you don't understand why someone didn't get vaccinated. Even when you may be angry about somebody else's behavior, you can take the love that God is into that situation. Being all that God is through your activity. The impulse of love that may rise in you, that shows up as peace, that shows up as curiosity and wonder, that shows up, like Thich Nhat Hanh said, so present that you can look into that individual and see the entire cosmos. You can look into that set of circumstances and see that the sun participated in growing those people. You can look into that set of circumstances and see that the soil that grew the food that fed that body in front of you is a part of the oneness. And that the very same soil that grew the food, that grew you, connects you. And when we bring our full attention from the one, recognizing the one, all the places where we think we cannot find understanding, all the places where we think they are wrong and we are right, begin to dissipate and melt away. And we may not know how to bridge a gap. We may not know how to solve a problem. But if we start with our full presence and attention, grounded in this oneness, grounded in the belonging that already exists because God, and let that move us into the next word, into the next step, all solutions become possible, become revealed through the pointing of love, as Ernestine said. And what I want us to really, really make real is this oneness, is this absolute belonging that can never be undone. But it starts here. It starts with my belonging to the Holy Blessed One, my belonging to this greater reality. When I know that, I can be a stand for that, no matter what is happening out here. And I can bring the very wisdom of that love to every situation, to every interaction, to every relationship, recognizing that your success and your failures depend on my understanding of my connection to the one. And because I am willing to make that commitment to stay committed, to stay grounded in this truth, I know that all is well. I know without any shadow of a doubt that you are well. That every refugee, every person seeking asylum, that everyone struggling right now with the COVID, that every family going through divorce, that every child struggling with online education, with every teacher trying to figure out how to meet them where they are, that every situation, I know I can bring my love to them. And because I know that I can deeply get present to the truth of our oneness, I know that you can. And for every breath in each body, in each glorious face of God and this humanity we share together, when each one of us says yes to knowing the truth of who we are and knowing our inherent belonging to our divine nature, every problem meets its solution. Every impulse of love that rises in your being and their being moves in loving action, providing those solutions. That's how they get here. That's how we together begin to participate in the success of all of humanity. And that first commitment to recognizing our inherent belonging to the one in our own being. And when we do that, when we recognize the great I am because you are, because we are, and that first part of that sentence, the first step in Ubuntu is the I am. And the I am travels across the globe in every faith tradition as well. I am because thou art from the Vedanta. I am that I am in the Hebrew Bible. I am that in the Christian Bible. That very I am being taken a step further in Ubuntu. I am because we are. The I am that I am from the Hebrew Bible, these ideas mean that when we understand the I am that I am, and that I am that, and I am that, and I am you, and I am we expand our circle of care. I am that, I am you can go a little further. I am that too. My concept of who belongs to the we gets to grow. And as I allow that impulse of love to point me, it points me into a greater and greater and expanding circle of love, of care. That very circle of care that you may be able to conceptualize as your beloveds, the people that you are in relationship, your family. And maybe you've allowed that circle of care, that I am because we are, out to your faith community, out to your working relationships, out to your colleagues, maybe out to your neighbors. But as we connect into the practice of this reality, we can expand that circle. We could grow our arms wider and hold more and understand that we is maybe bigger than we thought of yesterday. And I think one of my favorite parts of circles, the work that we've taken on in our community to expand our circle of care. We've allowed this impulse of love as a community to grow our circle of care to include more, to welcome more within each of our arms. And I love that because circles is built on that idea. It's growing a circle of care around individuals. And as we do that collectively, that means we get to include more and more and more and more and more and more and more folks and how we understand we. And just appreciate all of you who jumped online for the live stream. And for those of you who'll be watching later, please know that I love you and there is no separation, my darlings. We are in it together. Let's anchor all this goodness in prayer. Take it with you, knowing that truly there is only one, that holy blessed one that I call God, that is called Allah, that is called the Absolute, that is called Mother Goddess, that is called the Divine. That one is present right here, right now. In me, as me, through me, and all around me in this screen, that one is present. And that one is present in every piece of life, in every inhale and every exhale, in every wonder and curiosity, in every moment that feels like separation. I know that the one is the bridge. And I know that because we each say yes to that divinity that is living right in our very beings, and as we more deeply connect ourselves to it, as we bring our attention to it, it is the thing that moves us in love, that reveals this incredible tapestry of life, this one tapestry that we each are threading through every smile, every interaction, every hug and handshake, every hello and good morning and how are you? Every dollar we give, every bit of our talent and treasure that we bring to life itself, we weave that tapestry beautifully. And we do it because there is no other possibility, because there is only one holy, blessed tapestry that I belong to, that you belong to. And it is good, and it is beautiful, and it is peaceful, and it is joyous, and it is harmonious, and it is kind, and it is compassionate, and it is ever expanding and growing, including more and more and more and more. I am delighted to be a part of this tapestry, to be threading my very thread with you, creating this goodness that I call life. I just let it continue to unfold in all of its beauty, blossoming in the mind of God, knowing that all is well. Anchor this with me by saying amen, and so it is.